Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, welcome. I'm Ashley. I'm a homeschooling mom with 7 kiddos. Our oldest is 13, and then we have 11, 7, 6, 4, 2, 3, and 2. Sometimes I have to think about that for a minute. Okay, so I want to do a large family video today. I get asked quite a bit, but in like roundabout ways, about extracurriculars and not specifically extracurriculars, but kind of what do we pay for, and do we make our kids pay for anything as it relates to extracurriculars, or things that they want or things that they need, or phones, etc. Now, what I am going to say is specific to our family, and obviously whatever you guys choose is to pay for or what not to pay for is your decision. And do not feel bad listening to me say these things, just as I don't feel bad listening to other people say how they do this, how they do these things, and how they run their house in this regard. So as it relates to things that my kids have, I don't want to say need, but some things are necessities, obviously. So clothes, we get a lot. First of all, we get a lot of hand-me-down clothes, and I reuse clothes. I mean, we are reusing for my 2-year-old what my 13-year-old wore. And so the kids that are not the oldest of each gender with our kids, they have so many hand-me-downs, like unreal. I just did a swap, and I probably should have filmed that because that was just crazy. I'm trying to get out winter clothes as we're going to be going on a trip, and where it's going to be cold, and I was trying to see what they had and get their stuff, and I have now piles of clothes that I'm just trying to figure out where to put and how to like organize, and all the things. So my older 2 kids are typically the ones, even though they do get some hand-me-downs, my daughter mostly, but they usually get the new things when they need them. I do not do a huge like back to school shopping haul for clothes. We get as we need them. So if one of my kids says, I don't have any shorts, I need some new shorts, those are things that we buy. We buy those things. I do not make them unless there was something specific that they wanted, a super expensive pair of shoes, which my kids really don't care for that. I mean, it's just, Nikes, I feel like, are ideal tennis shoes because they last long, not because they're like, I won't buy them $120 pair of Nikes, but Nikes, in my opinion, are ones, Under Armour, whatever, are ones that last. And so obviously those aren't like high-end tennis shoes. I mean, they are because they last, but that's why I buy them, because they last. So if they need a new pair of tennis shoes, regular shoes, because they don't require a lot. I mean, they're at their extracurriculars and they're at home, and that's pretty much it. So I don't mind buying that. We don't mind buying that. So clothes, we buy it. We don't go crazy. If there's a sale, I'm like, what do we need? What is it that we need? What are my older kids need? Look at that and reevaluate, and then kind of pick from there. But I never buy anything full price, like ever, unless it's food, of course. I always use a coupon, or I always have something that's on sale. If it is full price, I don't buy it. So that kind of helps us. So there are ways around those things with buying clothes. But I mean, people always say, how do you afford these kids all these clothes and all these, shoes and yada, yada, yada. And it's like, we just don't buy it that often because they're typically in their dance clothes or their taekwondo clothes or their baseball clothes, and that's it. Or if they're home, it doesn't matter what they're wearing. They're just lounging around. So you know what I mean? And it's also different because we homeschool. So, it's just like, they don't ask for a whole lot of stuff. They're not around kids that are very materialistic and want the latest and greatest. They don't ask for that. So I guess that's a plus too. But as far as clothes when we go on trips, I've always seen it as, we decide that we're going on these trips. So whatever they need for that particular trip, we will buy it. That is not, they didn't say, oh yes, take me on this trip, or this isn't, I just automatically, it's just not even a question. I don't make them buy snow clothes. I don't make them buy, their bathing suits, unless it's something that they really, really wanted that was super expensive. But again, that never happens. Then I would make them save for it and buy it and purchase it themselves. But your typical, just your typical clothes, your typical, season clothes, we buy it. Extracurriculars. There's a lot of back and forth about this. There's people that make their kids pay for everything. There's people that make their kids pay for certain competitions or certain tournaments or whatnot. We do not do that. We do not make them pay for that. Now, will that change in the future as all of our kids, we have 6 of our kids are in extracurriculars if you count our 3-year-old in dance. And so there are dance costumes, not for her yet, but there are dance costumes. There are company costumes. There are baseball uniforms. There is baseball equipment. I'm trying to think of all the things that, that they need. With Taekwondo, they have uniforms, but they will outgrow those. So they will need new gear sometimes, baseball bats, cleats. A lot of the stuff is hand-me-downs for my younger kids. So like the cleats that my oldest wore, my younger kids will wear. Or the bats that they used, my younger kids will use. Or the bags, my younger kids will use. So again, it's one of those things like the older kids typically get the newer things. I will still buy the younger kids newer things if we don't have that. But we first look and see what we have. We pay for everything extracurricular. We pay for tournaments. We pay for anything that they need. Now, a lot of stuff they will get for Christmas or they will get for birthday. And so, that is an option too. They will get some stuff if it's something expensive. Baseball is not cheap. I can tell you baseball is not cheap. When you think about, especially my oldest is in select team. And so needing certain things is not always cheap. So he has tournaments. He has, monthly tuition. It is something that we would not change. So we feel that these things are a kind of a stepping stone to their success. And doing these competitions for Taekwondo, for example, doing these tournaments and these competitions are so beneficial for the success of his Taekwondo journey. My oldest is about to test pretty soon for his 4th degree black belt. That is no joke. Let me tell you, that is no joke. The stuff that's considered like a high rank. And so it is a lot, but the more he does, it's all intertwined. And so we don't feel like that is something that, okay, well, if you want to do this, no, we feel like this is his path. And so helping him to achieve that, because he's only 13 and he doesn't have a job. And yes, he could do stuff around the house, which he will do if there is something that he really, really wants, a video game or something extra aside from the extracurriculars. That sounds kind of oxymoron. That sounds kind of strange, like extra from the extracurriculars. Because these extracurriculars are really a part of who they are, and they're really, it is molding them into who they are going to be as adults. We really feel like it's just not a necessity to make them pay for it. Now, with that being said, if this is something that you cannot afford and you simply say, hey kiddo, we cannot afford that this time. This month we had a really difficult month or whatever, that is okay. but they might not have the money to pay for it. So I will say personally, growing up, granted, I didn't do competitions and things like that, but I was never responsible for paying for my extracurriculars. So maybe that's where it comes from. I don't believe my husband was either. And so I think it's just kind of a learned thing, that if we can pay for it, we will pay for it because we want you to succeed in this. We don't want you to have to scrounge for money. Now, when they get jobs and things, again, that might change. I mean, we might say, okay, you got to help pay for this. If you want to do this competition, you need to help pay or pay half. If you want, this particular gear, you need to help us pay for it. Give us half of it. So that might be something that we will reevaluate later. But as of right now, we pay for everything and we don't make them pay for it. Phones. The phones are things that we wanted them to have. This was not something, now, my oldest would say, oh, all my friends have phones, yada, yada, yada. I will link my Gab phone review. They have phones that do not have internet. They're just talk and text. It was something that we felt was a necessity because of how often they are dropped off at their extracurriculars. So this was not something that either one of them were begging us for. It was something that we felt like they needed, and to give us peace of mind, to know where they are at all times and to be able to contact us at all times. And so phones, we pay for it. Now, later on down the road, whenever they get a smartphone, or if they want maybe a different case or a different, I don't know, anything else extra like accessories, then we can say, okay, a lot of times we just say, wait for your birthday, wait for Christmas, that kind of thing. Or save up your money, save up your tooth fairy money, save up your, birthday money, whatever, and pay for it. And my oldest is really good with that. He has done that before. I'm going to say his big thing is he wants to save for a car right now. So, he has goals. He's very goal oriented, obviously, but we do not make them pay for the phone. So pretty much the things that they pay for are really extras, extra video games, extra, I don't know, activities that they want to do, craft things or things for their room. I will still buy on occasion, but things for their room that maybe they really want or they've been eyeing for a long time, they will purchase that themselves or they usually just give me the money and then I buy it. So really, in a nutshell, we pretty much pay for everything as long as they are under our roof and do not have a job. They are under 16. They do not have a job. So yes, they can do stuff around the house and gather money together, but it just might take a while. And again, the things that they do in regards to their extracurriculars, we really feel like it shapes them as a whole person. And it is helping them, if we're going to pay monthly for these things for them to do, we want them to be able to experience the tournaments and experience the competitions and experience all of these things as it relates to their sport. So it all is kind of intertwined. Now, again, like I said, if it was something that we could not afford that month, then we would just simply say, we can't do it, or you're going to have to help pay for it somehow, or do extra things around the house or something. You're going to have to do something. But as of right now, we pretty much pay for everything while they're under our roof, under 16, before they have a job. And we're okay with that. Again, like I said before, this is how we do this in our house. It's never really been a question, I think, because of our upbringings, and I'm okay with that. It is something that not every family can do, and I recognize that. And we are blessed to be able to do this, to be able to provide that. But with that being said, of course, there are some times where it's difficult months if there's like a ton of things that month, a ton of tournaments or, whatever. Each month is different. So I just wanted to throw that out there because I get a lot of questions about how do you pay for all this stuff, and and this isn't a video on how we pay for it, but more what we pay for and why we pay for it, and why we feel like it is beneficial for them, as opposed to, my oldest, really, they understand that if there is something that they really, really want that is extra, that we won't buy it. We're not just going to go to the store and buy something for the heck of it. Don't get me wrong. We will not be at the store and they say, oh, I want this. Can I have this? Yes. Okay. No, that's not how it goes. But as it relates to extracurriculars, as it relates to their safety of having a phone, as it relates to needing clothes for a vacation that we are planning, that's kind of on us, kind of on me to make sure that we can do that. So that is kind of how it goes. I hope that answers some questions. I know some people have questions about that. And again, don't judge anybody else for what they do or they don't do or they can or can't do. These are all strictly family specific. And again, this could change tomorrow. This could change, 2 years from now. I don't know. But as of right now, this is kind of how we do things. So let me know if you have any questions or if there's any other video that's kind of related to this that you want me to dive a little bit deeper into. And I will see you guys next time. Take care.